Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my very first YouTube video. My name is Samia Sharika Jahan and I am a student of Civil and Environmental Engineering at Shahjalal University of Science and Technology. Today's video is from the course Principle of Economics. We are in Chapter 1, Demand, Supply and Equilibrium. And in this video, I will focus on the equilibrium part. This is one of the most fundamental ideas in microeconomics because it explains how the forces of demand and supply interact in the market to determine the price and quantity of goods. By the end of this video, you will clearly understand what equilibrium is, how it is shown graphically, how to solve equilibrium mathematically, how to use equations to find the equilibrium price and quantity. So let's get started. Let's first look at the definition. Equilibrium is the point at which the quantity demanded by consumers equals to the quantity supplied by producers, resulting in a stable market price. At this point, there is no shortage, no surplus. The market price is stable here. Here we can see QS is equal to QD is equal to Q star. QS means quantity supplied, QD means quantity demanded, and Q star quantity at equilibrium. So basically, equilibrium is like a balance point between buyers and sellers in the market. Now let's move to the graphical illustration of equilibrium. Here we can see a graph. The graph indicates price versus quantity demanded and supplied. In this graph, we can see equilibrium at the point where the demand curve and the supply curve intersect. The price at this point is called equilibrium price, P star, and the quantity exchanged is called the equilibrium quantity, Q star. On the graph, the demand curve slopes downward from the left to right, showing that as price decreases, quantity demanded increases. The supply curve, on the other hand, slopes upward, showing that as price increases, producers are willing to supply more. Where these two curves intersect, we get the equilibrium point, which is E. This is the price and quantity where demand equals supply. But what happens if the market is not at equilibrium? Here happen excess supply and excess demand. Excess supply. It can also be called surplus. Excess supply when if the price is set above the equilibrium price, producers supply more than consumers are willing to buy. This creates surplus. To fix this, producers will reduce prices and eventually the market will move back to equilibrium. Excess demand. If the price is below equilibrium, consumers demand more than what producers are supplying. This creates a shortage. In this case, competition among buyers will push the price up, and again the market returns to equilibrium. So, equilibrium acts like a natural balancing point in the market. At the equilibrium point, there is no tendency for prices to change. Here, the exact quantity that producers take to market will be bought by consumers. There will be no leftover. Here we can see the definition of excess supply and excess demand. Now let's move to the mathematical model for equilibrium. We usually represent demand and supply using linear equations. We can find here that demand curve is represented by the equation QD is equal to A minus BP, where B is the slope of the demand curve, and supply curve is represented by the equation QS is equal to C plus DP, where D is the slope of the supply curve. From this we can find P star and Q star. At equilibrium, QS is equal to QD is equal to Q star and P is equal to P star. Here we can see Q star is equal to A minus dP star and Q star is equal to C plus dP star. As we know that at equilibrium point the demand and supply equal, so A minus dP star is equal to C plus dP star, and from these equations we can find P star and Q star. Here P star is A minus C by B plus D and Q star is AD plus BC by B plus D. This is the exact equilibrium price and the quantity. So now we can know the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, how the market balance. Now let's look at a numerical example from the slide. We are given QD is equal to 8 minus P and QS is equal to minus 2 plus 4P. So to find equilibrium, we know QD is equal to QS. So we can write 8 minus P is equal to minus 2 plus 4P, and from these equations we can solve and we can find P star is equal to 2 and Q star is equal to 6. So equilibrium occurs at price is equal to 2 and quantity is equal to 6. We can also create a demand supply schedule to see this more clearly. When price is 1 and quantity is 2 and quantity demand is 7 and quantity supplied is 2. When price is 2, quantity supplied is 6 and quantity demand is 6. When price is 3, quantity supplied is 10 and quantity demand is 5. When price is 4, quantity supplied is 14 and quantity demand is 4. And when demand and quantity supplied is 18 and 3 at price 5. Here we can see where quantity supplied and quantity demanded same, here the price is 2. So we can say that quantity supplied equals quantity demand, so the equilibrium price is 2. So there's the equilibrium point. So to summarize, we can say equilibrium is where demand equals supply. Graphically, it is the intersection of the demand and supply curves. Mathematically, we can calculate it using equations. In our example, equilibrium price was 2 and equilibrium quantity was 6. This concept is very important in economics because it explains how market work naturally. Whenever there is a shortage of or surplus, the forces of demand and supply push the market back to equilibrium. So thank you for watching this video. If you found this explanation helpful, you can share this video and also like the video. Thank you.